What is up, Cartel family? John here with another episode of Car Genre 101. Today we're going to do a topic, supercars versus hypercars. Yes, they are two different things. I didn't know that until I started hitting the car scene in some different areas, and the more shows I go to, the more meets I go to, the more events, the more things that are curated, the more people I meet, the more I travel, the more wealthier areas I go, the more, different areas and different continents, different countries. You see all different types of categories, and it blows my mind how it continues to add on and add on, and I love it. As I'm doing it, I'm like, wow, I didn't know this existed. Well, I'm sure there's a ton of other people that didn't know the difference, or if there was another level or whatever it may be. I'm gonna take you through it. I'm learning, so we're gonna learn together. And I thought the best way to do it would be by making a video and sharing it with you guys. All right, check it out. We're gonna start with a supercar definition. Supercar is what most people dream about. You know, the Lambo, the Huracan, F88, McLarens. These are insanely fast. They're considered exotics, supercars, same category. Man, now we gotta go down that level. Like, what's the difference between exotic and a supercar? I feel like they're all pretty much exotics. Like they're more rare, but let's just stick to a supercar. They're designed for performance, but still usable. You could drive them to a car meet. You could see them on the roads in, most nice areas, whether you're in LA or Florida or just some back roads up there, up Northwest or Midwest. Obviously they're going to go away in the winter. They're only going to come out in the summer when the road conditions are good. Some people are wild, though. They'll do it in any condition. I love that. Cars are made to be driven, right? Can we get an amen in the chat? Oh man, these supercars you could pretty much drive on only street. You could track them too, but you won't be driving in any areas where there's messed up roads, janked up roads, dirt roads, unless you're out of your mind. Most of these stuff, they're built pretty well. There's ways to protect them. Clear bras, a clear vinyl wrap on the front. That's for the rock chips at high speed, but these things are low to the earth, so there's not much you could do when you get into those little situations. Keep conscious of where they're going. That's all I could say about that. So when you talk about where they're going, those meets are generally where you're going to see a nice blend of super, and then eventually see some hypercars. Those are supercars. They're readily available to most people. They're probably under, they could easily go over a mil, but they're definitely six figures. So there are people out there that can't afford them. They are definitely obtainable. So I don't want anybody to think like, oh, I can never have a supercar. You want a supercar, you just got to map it out. Make it in a 5-year plan, 10-year plan, whatever it takes. Your dream ride. Supercars are pretty much the ones you're falling in love with when you're a little kid. You might see them, you're going to see them on the street. You're not going to see hypercars. If you see something on the street, it's more something that's obtainable. And I keep seeing them, and I want one real bad. Hypercar is going to be in a rare instance. They're more in maybe like a museum style or different curated events. Now, hypercar, they're a whole different beast. These are top 1%. These are just straight engineering. You're going to see them put together with all types of different composite materials. They've been experimenting for decades on how to get the lightest, strongest, fastest. We're talking about your Bugatti Chirons. You're talking about your Koenigseggs, Jesko, your Rimac. That one's bananas. I mean, if you ever seen one of those, I saw one for the first time yesterday, and I was like, what the heck is this thing? I had to really look into it, and the more I started walking around the car, the more I started talking about it, the more I loved it. And I'm like, shit, now I'm a hypercar guy. I didn't know that until a couple days ago. These are pushing over 1,000 horsepower. They're mostly hybrid, electric and gas. They found a way to have a nice blend of that. Electric motors are super powerful. Gas engines are very powerful, but they have their pros and cons both ways. So when they're together, it's insane. I'm pretty sure F1 is running hybrids now, if I'm not mistaken. Someone correct me. There's different categories in the formula, but they might be all hybrids, or they're not like they used to. I know they used to scream and make noise, but everyone misses that. And I love a good gas engine. They're not fast. These are record breaking. These are like, you're not seeing them on the street. You'll see them more at maybe a curated event where there's, some really high-end clientele. You might be at an airport hangar. You might be at a golf course. This is where you see this kind of stuff. You might be in a museum. These things aren't driven. They might be pushed around, with people with white gloves. Or you might be at a track, and you might see one ripping it if you're lucky. Yeah, but these are well over 1,000, 1,500 horsepower, 2,000 horsepower. I didn't think that was possible, but they did it. And that's with that price point, when you get to that much power, that price, horsepower is very expensive when you're up over there. So you're coming well over the millions. So let's break it down. How do they stack up against each other? What's pros, cons? If money ain't a thing, then that's not a con. All right, let's put them side by side. I got supercars and hypercars. Your supercar horsepower is about 600 to 900. horsepower, about average. Your hypercar is going to be 1,000 plus horsepower. Your supercars could go about 200. Most of them go 200 miles an hour. Hypercars are going to go 240 plus. Like insane. Like for you to go 240 plus, you got to have some serious balls, first of all, and you better have a racetrack or a strip, and you better have a team around you, bro, that you can do this. You ain't doing this by, make sure the conditions are right and you're set up, you're all specced out, and you're ready to rock. Price, obviously, your supercars, this could also easily separate supercar, hypercar. Your supercars are around 200 to 700 grand, and then your hypercar is just, it's a mill. It's a cool mill. Plus, I honestly always thought like Bugatti was in a supercar category, but now that I look at it, it's a hypercar, man. These are hypercars. It easily goes over a mil. It has some wild engineering. V16 quad turbos, like that's insane. That is not a supercar. That's supercar on steroids. So that puts them into the hypercar. I like that it's all motor, but maybe I should start going down the hypercars and see which ones are all motor hybrid. That'd be fun. I could do that another day. Or maybe today. Let's see. Hypercars obviously aren't that practical. You should not be driving it down your block. You shouldn't be storing it in your home garage, like your apartment garage. You probably have some kind of lab where you're storing it in. You probably have some other network of super or hyper cars where they're stored in a garage on a battery tender and in a controlled temperature room, and where you could like get to go look at it once in a while, and you make an appointment to take the thing out. You can just go up, pull that thing out. You want to make sure everything is good. Or you're like one of those top end high-end car guys that's got a sick ass mansion with a sick ass car correction, and he has a garage temp control, and he has a couple employees to look after his cars. We should all have that. We should all strive for that. Why shouldn't we have something like that? That's obtainable. Hopefully one day, we'll be out there. We'll be doing videos from our sick ass garage. But until then, I'm here with you guys. I'm educating you guys, myself, and the rest of the car community. At the end of the day, anybody could drive one of these cars, any genre. Could be JDM, could be supercar, could be classic, low rider. It doesn't matter who you are. It's really what your passion is for the cars and what you like. And it's really like an extension of our personality. If you got all the money in the world, you might not still buy a hypercar. You might still get something that's more like just more something that's that's rolling hard, or you might get something lifted, big, loud. If you had all the money in the world, what kind of car would you get? That's all I want to ask anybody, guys. Let me know in the comments. If you had no cap on funds, you can go all the way up to supercar. You can go down to jalopy. You can even go to some 1950s, 1980s. But still, even 1950s, 1980s, you could still have $1 million car out there. So what would it be if you had no cap on funds and you could only choose one? You could only choose one to buy today. And it had to be you buy it today. That'd be what I want to know. That's what I want to know from everybody. And now I got to think about it too, because that's a really good question. Man, I could go all day on that, but I'm not going to. At the end of the day, whether you're rocking a supercar, JDM, or even a project in progress, I respect all builds, man. Whether it's built by NASA or it's built by your bare hands, I don't care. Not everyone's chasing price tags. We're all here just straight up chasing passion. And I appreciate you guys tapping in. This is Miami Car Cartel. I hope you loved us and ride with us on the next one. All right, peace.